And I'd be curious to get your perspective here, right? Because when we measure the data,
Mm-hmm.
you'll look at 90% of the content, 95% of the content created about Gymshark is organic, just by the influencers, let alone the consumers. And of course, there's a lot of time and effort and money spent on paid relationships. How do you guys think about balancing those two? And then how do you think about, when you're thinking about who you want to bring on as a paid partner, what are some of the criteria that you guys use when you're thinking about that?
Yeah, it's a really good question. It's one of those things. It's like we look at it like an ecosystem. You know what I mean? It's like this entire ecosystem surrounding Gymshark. It's one of those things, right? We tend to keep the ambassador / athlete roster relatively exclusive. We bring on X amount of people per year because there is that prestige associated with being a part of Gymshark or being a Gymshark athlete. So we're quite not limited, but we tend to keep to a certain amount of people every year. But then the issue is, if we were just to focus on that, you kind of shoot yourself in the foot, because there's so many amazing creators out there in the world that we'd be missing out on. So, you know what I mean? Steph and our PR team have this incredible this incredible seeding strategy, and you know what I mean, those are the guys and girls who are out networking, those social butterflies, and you know what I mean, they're amazing at what they do, and you know what I mean, they can truly bring people into the Gymshark bubble and fall in love with the brand and build this advocacy, because again, it's just genuine, authentic approach, you know what I mean? And I think that talks back to anyone who works at Gymshark, you know what I mean? It's just authentic people, you know what I mean, genuine people who want to see the brand do better. So like, our PR team have this really successful seeding strategy, but then equally, going back to like the long-term side of things, sit with our athlete roster, but then equally, you know what I mean, you can leverage the short-term partnerships on a more campaign basis or strategic level, and that's where Sophie and our influencer marketing team do an amazing job of creating authentic and engaging content that drives value. So it's like, you kind of have to look at it like an ecosystem, you know what I mean? And every partnership, every activation has to have a purpose. I think, like you and I were talking about, like some of the, say, you look at fashion brands or other retail brands out there, and do you know what? Sometimes it's just brand awareness for them to focus on. Brand awareness, get your product out in front of as many people and as many cool kids as possible. And with everything that's going on with culture, social media, if you get the cool kids in your product, you know what I mean, there's a really good opportunity of that to pick up. Like, you look at essentials at the moment. Everybody wants an essentials tracksuit. And it's not because, and this is not to take credit away from essentials, it's not because they've done anything incredible. It's a tracksuit, but they've done a really good job of marketing the tracksuit and putting it on culturally relevant people who are super influential and super cool. And then all of a sudden, and don't get me wrong, the products look dope as well, but then everybody wants one, you know what I mean? And they create this scarcity model where it sells out, and they're reselling on StockX for 4 times the cost. And I think that's almost that like organic traction you can't pay for.
And
I think that just it goes back to when we talk about Gymshark, it's like the whole organic side of things is, again, we're not there to sell a pair of leggings, you know what I mean? We're there to unite the conditioning community, and that's our purpose. And everything always has to talk back to that purpose. So I think because we focus on a mission statement, a brand-led purpose, and building a community, the organic growth we see is so much stronger than what other businesses would see, because if people are just trying to pay for it, you're just forcing it. You know what I mean? There's no real reasoning behind why people would purchase a brand or post about a brand or represent a brand. So I think it's because we focus on our North Star and focus on having a purpose of uniting the conditioning community. It's not about selling X amount of pairs of leggings or sports bras per year. You know what I mean? And I think they're the two different business models. We're building a brand. Others are building companies or building businesses to value and sell at X amount, you know what I mean, or to hit revenue targets. That's not what we're about, you know what I mean? And I think that's why we can go on and see this organic growth, because we're focusing on the community element. We're focusing on just making this incredible brand that helps people.